Well, good day everybody, and welcome to my channel Whisky Journey. Today I've got another single malt Scotch whisky review for you guys, and yes, I'm journeying back to Campbelltown and trying out this new Springbank release. Springbank released quite a few releases on Friday just past. We had a new batch of the Springbank 10-year-old and the 15-year-old. We also had a new batch of the longer 18 and also the Springbank 12-year-old cask strength. And last but not least, we had this bottle released as well. So this is the new sherry release, Springbank 10 cask maturation Amontillado casks. Okay, this particular release very difficult to get hold of. Massive shout out and thank you to Daniel from my local who kept aside a bottle for me. It is greatly appreciated. I don't think I would have gotten it without their assistance, so massive shout out to them. Okay, so let's get onto the bottle then, shall we? So as I said, this is Springbank 10 Amontillado cask matured, distilled in July of 2014 and bottled in September 2024. Outturn was 9,900 bottles, which sounds like a lot, but in the world of Springbank that's not much at all. Full maturation was 5 years in ex-refill bourbon casks, is my understanding, and 5 years in fresh Amontillado casks. Okay, so I've poured 2 drams here. One is natural strength and the other I've added some water. This bottle is also 55% ABV. Alright, so I'm intrigued to try this and see what we get. So we'll start with the natural strength first, and then I will try the reduced strength. So on the nose of the natural strength, so the first thing I get is a mix of apples and cherry. Definitely raisins, so definitely obvious sherry influence. Raisins, dried fruits, apricots. Really, there's a bit of mustiness as well, almost like old books. It reminds me almost of Dunwich, walking through a warehouse at a distillery, and you get that sort of Dunwich warehouse note. Although it's not particularly strong, but it is slightly there. I'm also picking up some lemon as well, oranges, definitely. Bit of brown sugar. Does come across as really sweet. Yeah, the nose definitely doesn't reveal too much for me, but it definitely has those classic sherry notes. I don't detect any sulfur on this, although I'm not susceptible to sulfur generally. Definitely no sulfur. It comes across as really clean casks. Yep, so overall the nose for me just a little bit tight, and these drams have been resting for a good 20 minutes. Yeah, earthiness, deep earthiness definitely as well. That earthy note is probably, and that mustiness is one of the first things that comes out for me, definitely, and remains right throughout the nose. Beautiful, actually, but it still feels a bit closed. In any case, lovely nose, but let's just see what it tastes like, because that's the most important thing for me. Right. Just on the finish there, you know it's a Springbank. Chalky minerals, sooty peat, that sort of dirty sootiness that I love from Springbank. A little bit of industrial tone as well, a lick of metal almost on the finish. Lots of sweet sherry on the end as well, mingling with that, with the classic sweet sour notes I get from a Springbank, especially in sherry. I get that on the 15-year-old. That's beautiful, stunning on the palate, on the finish. So initially on the palate, it's quite oily, mouth coating, definitely coats the whole of the mouth, creamy, greeted by all those beautiful sherry notes, raisins, dried fruits, apricots, apple, lime, lemon. There's definitely a sharpness, strawberry, red fruits, berries, definitely. And sort of mid-palate, that's when it becomes quite juicy. But then you get that playfulness of sweet and sour going on. As I said, the sweetness of the sherry mingling with lime. Oranges definitely come out. But then when you're thinking, where exactly is the Springbank character when you're swirling it in your mouth, then on the end you get a big hit of those chalky minerals that I get from mainly the Springbank 10. I really get it on the Springbank 10. There's chalky minerals and a beautiful sooty character. Not huge, not heavy, but it's there. And then a lick of metal, as I like to call it, that sort of industrial tone, just sitting there now on the palate in the finish, along with those beautiful sweet cherry notes, a bit of chocolate, definitely a bit of darker chocolate. There's a hint of bitterness, but balanced well with the sweetness. I'm very impressed with that, guys. That's lovely. I was worried that we wouldn't get any Springbank character coming out, but definitely on the end of the palate, that's where that Springbank for me really comes out. That's where the character comes out. Doesn't for me really show too much on the nose, but the palate is where it's at, in my opinion, and that's gorgeous. That is lovely. Let's just try it now at its reduced strength. So added a few drops of water to this. So let's see what we get on the nose first with a few drops of water. Okay, so nose is opened up a wee bit just with a few drops of water. Comes across as sweeter. Getting more of those classic sherry notes. I'm not going to list them all again, but they're classic sherry notes, but apples definitely, oranges. Yeah, but apples and oranges. A little bit of wood, definitely a little bit of oak, but not much. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, some minerals coming out, berries. There's a little bit of funk as well. Yeah, not much, but there's definitely a little bit of that sort of Springbank funk going on. That sort of slightly manure smell, but it's very, very light, very low in the mix, in my opinion. Still getting those musty books, leather, Dunnage Warehouse, just a little bit of it. That's also lovely on the nose, and I think that with the addition of water, I think it's opened up the nose just a little bit. Definitely more flavorful on the nose, or characterful on the nose, in my opinion. Right, let's see what the taste is like. I just love how that Springbank character comes out in the end. More minerals, sweet sour, soot, dirtiness, a bit of dirty soot or dirty smoke. I actually think I prefer that with a bit of water, guys. The mouthfeels retains its thickness and oiliness, becomes creamy, juicy, definitely a juicy character, more distinct flavor in my opinion. Oranges, lime, definitely, salt, toffee fudge, salted toffee fudge, along with the sweetness of the raisins and all those sherry notes. But mid palate, as I said, that sweet sour note really comes into play beautifully mid palate, and then just on the end, again, chalkiness, minerals, sootiness, trail of sooty smoke, bit of peat, and that's when you know that this is a Springbank. As soon as you taste, if you're used to drinking Springbank, you'll know straight away at the end that this is a Springbank, just with that flavor and that slight industrial metal tone just on the end. Absolutely beautiful, and for me it opens up with a bit of water. Normally I would drink most releases at its natural strength most of the time, but I think that's more interesting, just with a bit of water. Definitely on the nose, in my opinion, opens up that nose just a wee bit more. For me, at its 55% ABV, even with time in the glass, a little bit closed. But that water, just a little bit of water, just opens things up, opens the nose, and on the palate, definitely a more juicier profile. And those notes, all the notes, in my opinion, come out just a little bit more. Definitely getting apple as well, oranges, but it's on the end that I just love. I love the finish, fantastic finish, and it tells you that it's a Springbank on the finish, most definitely. If I had this blind, I wouldn't know what it was initially, but as it got to the palate or the finish, I would identify that that's a Springbank, definitely, or maybe not. That's the beauty of tastings. But what do I think overall, guys? In my opinion, it's an excellent bottle. I'm so glad I got it. I'm so glad the Springbank character is still there and retains itself. Obviously, there is more. There's a lot of sherry influence, but yeah, on that finish, the Springbank character dominates, in my opinion, and it's what I want from my dram. I want the distillery character to shine. Should you get it? Yeah, most definitely, if you can, at a recommended retail price. I wouldn't pay silly auction prices for this, guys, but if you can get it at its retail price, I think that's an excellent bottle, well worth the money, in my opinion. Okay, alright guys, so thanks for watching my review, and apologies for my rambling as usual. And that was my review of the new Springbank 10 Amontillado cask maturation. And I hope you enjoyed the review. Okay, alright, so that wraps it up, guys. So if you enjoy my content, then please like, comment and subscribe to the channel. It is always appreciated. But as usual, folks, not much else to say except have a fantastic day. I'll see all of you again soon. Take care. Cheers.